Today we're going to be doing a presidential roof, and we're going to be installing an integrity roof system, and we're going to be using the WinterGuard. When you install your WinterGuard, you're going to want your WinterGuard to go to the eave, and you want it to come within 2 foot on the interior wall. If you're in a snow country where there's a lot of snow, you're going to want to bring it up as high as you think that the snow is going to be in your area. So right now we have actually got the WinterGuard installed. I've got the drip edge down on the bottom, and we're going to install the diamond deck. We've got our diamond deck on, and you can see underneath we've got our nosing on the lower section. We have our WinterGuard on underneath that. And now we're going to be doing the dual starter. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to install the drip edge on the rake edge side. This is important with a lot of the customers. When you put this on, you want to try and get it on straight, because that's what they're going to see when they're walking around their house. You can see I've actually cut this to the same pitch as the roof, so when it goes on, it'll match this end, and then the gutter can be installed underneath that metal. Okay, we got our drip edge installed on the rake, so now we're going to show you the dual starter. Presidential is unique in that on the sawtooth pattern of this shingle, you see there's a lot of keyways in here, a lot of breakouts. Now the dual starter is going to give you 2 layers of shingles underneath all those keyways, so it's real important. And how you start this, you start off with a 20-inch piece here. You have a nail line here. You got 5 nails for each shingle on the presidential. Now once you get these down, you're going to go back, you're going to get another full, and you're going to cut 2 inches off the outside rake edge when you put this piece on. So you cut these 2 inches off. Now when you cut these 2 inches off, the purpose of that, when my starter goes on, my shingle goes on, it's actually going to fall underneath one of those tabs so that the butt end of the shingles is covered. We're going to hang this over even with the starter already installed. I'm going to hang it over about 3/4 inch on that side. Now once you get this other layer on, the shingle is actually perforated on the back side. So we're actually going to break that tab off so that it'll help it taper down so you don't hump up on this dual starter. So this one's already installed, so you can just go along and you can break these off. Now we've got our dual starter installed along the whole bottom edge, and you'll also notice I've done the swift start up the side. This is all part of the integrity roof system. I've also snapped a line for my first shingle. As you can see the line right here, I like to get my first row straight, since a lot of the presidential, when you're laying this, you have these shiplap notches, and you're going to line up each one of them after. So if you start out straight, you should be able to stay straight. The presidential is unique in its pattern. There's only one way to install it. You have to start it from the left side of the roof and work your way to the other side. You have a 5/15 pattern. You have a notch right here for your 5, and you have a notch for your 15. I've got a line already here, so I'm going to go ahead and line up with my line. Now we're going to start the second course of a 4-course book. So we're going to find the first notch right here. This is 5. Going to line that up with the notch, and then the shiplap will go right to the top of the shingle. You got 5 nails. Now since the shiplap right here, I'm actually going to cut it off. The reason I did that is now I can move this shingle to where I feel that it's level. Cut that side off. Now we're going to do the 15. Once you got your 5/15, we have 5 here, we have 15 here. Now we're going to go back to 5. Okay, this is a four-course book. So we've laid the first 4. You got a 5-inch, 15, 5, and a 15. Now your 5th course is actually going to start a new book. It'll also line up with the very first shingle that you've done, so it basically repeats itself. After you've laid 4, the next shingle will repeat itself. When you install this one, you want to go ahead and take it all the way out to the outside edge on your rake. It'll match up real close to your next 15-inch mark. Now these shiplaps, the reason we have these notches, this shiplap right here, when it comes up to the top of the shingle, this actually sets your course height of 4 inches. And then these notches in the shingles will actually give you your setback. So you look for the 5 notch, you look for the 15, you set it on the top of the shingle below it, and that'll set your course height. We rent our shingles up to our fireplace. Now what we want to do is show you the integrated roof system, and we're going to put the WinterGuard as a flashing up the fireplace and down on top of the shingles. What I've done is I've set this right at the height of my nail line. And what we're trying to do here is if this does leak, water gets in here, it'll feed on top of this, and it'll feed back out on top of your shingles. I want to go ahead and lap down, so I got a good lap on the one that's below. Turn it up 4 inches or more. Now I'm going to put a piece on the back side. This one's a lot larger. That way I can set my saddle on top of it. I've got all the WinterGuard installed, and as you can see, I've got a good skirt coming down over the top. This comes down. I cut these off so I don't have any buildup, so when I put the flash in, I got a good tight corner. Now I'm going to tie in the diamond deck to this, wrap it up the fireplace. Now we're going to install our head wall flashing. I've got part of it already cut to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to do. We're going to wrap the corner, we're going to flatten it down. Set this up here. Now I usually carry a felt marker so I can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm going to kind of cut this at a 45-degree angle. I'm going to flatten this piece out a little bit. I'll round this corner off a little. Now basically I should be able to, I'm going to bend this right even with the bottom. Now I'm not going to nail this flashing to the fireplace because I want the fireplace to be able to move independently of the flashing. Now I'm going to put my first step in as I come around this side so we can seal this corner. So what I do is I'll put this in, take my felt pin, and I'm going to make a mark right straight up this side, and then I'm going to make another one about 3/4 of an inch so up. I'm going to cut this piece out. I like to round off the corners so it makes it look neat, so you don't have any sharp edges. Now the water will come down this edge, and it'll come past the vulnerable part of the corner. That's the whole idea, leaving this small edge up and then rounding off the edge. We'll do the same to the other side. We're going to go ahead and we're going to run our shingles over and start nailing in our step shingles and show you how they go. One of the things that you can do is kind of like a little trick that was shown to me. Go ahead and set your shingle where you want it to go. Make a pencil mark up here at the top. Now I've got a place to actually line the top of this shingle up to keep it level. So we got to go back to 5. Okay, now we're going to go into the step shingle. I'll show you a little trick that works really well. When this goes in, when I put this shingle in, I cut this shingle up tight to fit. I have a lot of metal showing. I'm going to take a piece of starter and I'm going to slide that in up underneath the step shingle. I'm going to line it up to where my course goes. Now when I put this piece in, it'll actually sit in there and cover up the metal. Our next step shingle we're going to put in, we want to put mastic in here because these shingles are thick. So when we set this next one in, we're going to put 2 beads of mastic coming down this roof to help seal it in place. Okay, what I want to do is give you a closer look at why we suggest that you put the mastic down the side of the step shingle. When you see this edge on the shingle where the laminates come together, when this is actually down and the water comes down, it can hit this edge and it can run sideways. So the mastic is extra protection on the step shingle to make sure that you keep the water in the flashing and on the roof. Now what I want to show you real quick, because you guys didn't see me do this, I snapped a few lines to help keep me straight. I've actually got 3 lines right here. I snapped them all the way across the roof, and I done 3 lines because the courses are 4, so I set it up at 16, 32, and 48. So the line on top goes all the way across, and these 2 lines will help keep me square to this side. I've also snapped 1 additional line on my 15-inch mark coming up this side, kind of give me an idea where I am with my shiplap as I'm coming up this other side. Now the building code says any projection coming up through the roof that is equal to 24 inches or greater has to have a cricketed saddle behind it. So we had this one made, and as you can see from here, when this sets up on the deal, the water is actually going to come down here and come around. There won't be anything ponding behind the fireplace. Now I'm going to give this saddle a little extra protection. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put a little WinterGuard, counter flash this saddle. Now that we have that installed, I'm going to go ahead and put some diamond deck over the top of that so I counter flash my WinterGuard as well. We've counter flashed our WinterGuard. We've counter flashed our flashing with our WinterGuard. We're going to go ahead and get our shingles in up this side of the chimney. Now again, I'm going to put a couple of beads of mastic in there because of that double lamination on the shingle that I showed you earlier. We don't want the water traveling sideways. Now you can see with the help of the lines how we came up. My last line is right here coming across. My 5-inch line that I snapped vertically up the roof is right here, so these all matched. So now all it is just piecing it all together behind the fireplace and going up to the wall.